Chancellor of Miva, Open University, Sim Shagaya, lovely wife, General Nia, the Vice Chancellor, members of the academic family of Miva, and the trustees. Matriculants of the 2025 cohort, family members, guardians, and parents, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I think I would like all of us just to think and reflect. I don't know how many we are in this hall, but for matriculants alone, the number is about 8,000 people plus. And just think that one person who pursued his dream has connected 8,000 plus persons together. Have you thought about that? Yeah, I think you should. I think we all should. I think we should just applaud the vision of the Chancellor and his commitment to follow his vision. Now, just imagine if the 8,000 who are matriculating here today also followed their vision and connected another 8,000 persons each. Can you see what I see? Thank you. For the 8,000 who have also decided to pursue their own vision and their dream by subscribing not only to an open university, but to a digital open university when they are doubters. Courage. And I think that courage also deserves an applause. Honestly, I have given not a few speeches in my public service career, but I have never given a matriculation speech. So this is a first. And there is no title to this speech. It has no title. Because I just want to speak to you, the matriculants, about you and about yourselves. But because this is a first for me, I feel truly honored and delighted to also share my first experience as a matriculation speaker with 8,000 matriculants. So I'm delighted to be here on the day that you start a lifelong relationship with Miva University. And remember those words, a lifelong relationship is what you have just subscribed to by the oath you took a few minutes ago. And I don't know how deeply reflective, if at all reflective, we were about the significance of that oath. Because the matriculation process is really the formal enrollment process that signifies that one has entered a university. And that's what you just did. So, this is enrollment day. Never forget this day. And this is the day when a lifelong relationship begins, subject to one caveat, and that caveat will be that if you successfully complete the program and graduate. then you will become a member of the alumni. And you will never be able to change that anymore. That is why I say it's a lifelong relationship. So if you don't want to become a member of the alumni, the only way you can escape that now is not to complete your course. So, have you really thought about what I have just said? That this is a lifelong relationship, not just getting a degree. And if you haven't thought about it, please think about it. Do you want to have what I call a forever relationship with Miva? Because this is a marriage from which there will be no divorce. So I think that applause tells me that no one here wants to back out. Hello? Does anyone want to back out? Aha. So if we have agreement that nobody is backing out, then I will proceed by asking another question. Why did you choose an open university? Is it because a friend told you? Is it because it's now trending? Why didn't you choose a conventional university? And as you ponder that question, another question, why Miva? Miva is not the only open university. I am asking these questions because nobody asked me these questions. When I chose the University of Benin many years ago as the university I wanted to have a lifelong relationship with. I do hope you have answers to the questions I have asked you. But if you do not, I urge you to find one or more answers that convinces you to stay for your lifelong relationship with Miva. As for me, I have seen many reasons already why I would not only like to have a relationship with Miva, I would like to have an enduring one. One of the things I saw today was the induction of professors of practice. All of them, I believe I know, and some of them I've worked very close with. They bring to you what I did not get and what the chancellor perhaps did not get. People who have industry, real-life experience that connect the principles and the theories that you will come to learn about with what is happening in real life. Let me just dramatize that very quickly, and I'll continue with my speech. So when I was being taught the principles and practice of injunctions as a law undergraduate, they didn't teach me that injunctions will be abused and that professional colleagues will file different cases in different courts. So that is a matter we have come to acquire experience and practice about how to deal with. And I can assume that students of electrical engineering being taught how to build power plants, transformers, were probably not taught to know that as they are building them, there must be an unusual way to protect the transformers, because some people find pleasure in going to steal transformers. And some people derive pleasure and reward in going to cut cables. That is the practical side of what you will learn, and nobody to better teach you than some of the professors of practice that have been inducted today. So I am jealous. So pay attention to them. They will ground the theories for you by decades of experience. Of course, why Miva? one of the reasons, the most compelling reason perhaps, will be the founders of Miva themselves. Not the least, the Chancellor, his team, and his board of trustees. Many of them have reputations that have been forged over decades. Reputations rooted in integrity, hard work, and diligence. That is one thing we want to associate with Miva. Another reason for affiliation would be the innovative outlook that conforms with this global season of unceasing disruptions and innovation. So Miva seeks to disrupt the norm about how people get education by not only offering flexibility and affordability, but also projects itself as being more than a university. That's something to want to be part of. Miva says, and I quote them, "We are a movement driven by our belief education should be for anyone, anywhere, anytime." End of quote. Now, were any of these reasons a consideration for your being here today? I had some muffled responses. Aha! For me, I find even more compelling reasons in the 5 schools established under Miva's programs and the specialties that I observed in the courses that they offer. But before I continue about these programs and courses, let me tell you something again about my own education. So, this man standing before you was not really in love with school. I didn't like school. That's the truth. So those who grew up with me will tell you, this man just wanted to play football. But my parents were having none of that football. And I recall that all through what they kept telling me about why I must go to school, why school was important, was that I will get a certificate and I will get a job and I'll become self-sufficient and less dependent on them. That was the compelling reason. You must just go to school, get a certificate, get a job. I don't know if that resonates with people of my age who are in the hall. That was what we were told. So I do not recall anybody telling me that my education was preparing me for my community and for my country. I don't recall it. So in that regard, perhaps you might say I wasn't prepared for leadership. In this sense, I think Miva is deliberate. Miva wants to prepare you to be leaders of your environment. And I think this is clear because Miva adopts the statement of Miriam Wright Edelman that says, quote, "Education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and your world better than you found it." End of quote. I like to connect this statement to Miva and to all of us who are here today, most especially, of course, the matriculants. So I will connect it by telling us a story. In year 2014, when the Ebola virus came into Lagos, that was the first time in history that the Ebola virus was entering a metropolitan city. All the reported cases and research about it had been in many parts of rural Eastern Africa, in villages and all of that. That never entered a major city. But when it did, in Lagos, it was the experts in public health at the local and national levels who held our hands to confront and to defeat that dreaded virus. They knew that their education was not for them, but for their community, it was for their state, and it was for their nation. At the time, local and international residents of Lagos who were understandably scared were already leaving Lagos in droves. But the public servants and the health workers were bracing up to go and confront the virus and to confront the dangers that it portended and eventually to defeat it. The index case of Ebola, late Patrick Sawyer, was first brought to First Consultants Medical Center in Lagos. On the day he came to First Consultant was the day Justina Obioma Ejelonu resumed in that hospital as a nurse. It was her very first day at work. On that day, along with her professional colleagues, all of her training from school was put to test. Everything she learned about nursing. Who could have predicted to her on the day that she was matriculating that her first case on her first day at work will bring her in confrontation with the Ebola virus? Who could? But that was what happened on Justina's first day at work. She confronted the virus, she caught it, she defeated it, she got well, and she got on with life. I am very, very happy to note that Miva offers training in nursing and public health, because this is where the battle to protect and preserve the human civilization will be fought and won. The coronavirus 2019 disease, popularly known as COVID-19, and its aftermaths are still with us. Make no mistake about it. And the next epidemic, or perhaps even another pandemic, is around the corner. Many of those who fought to keep you and I alive have either aged, some of them have died, and many of them are retired. So those of you who are signing up here for public health today, you will therefore be part of the next army of public health soldiers who will defend your community with the knowledge and skills that Miva will offer you during your training. I hope that the dots I seek to connect are beginning to connect. That this is not about you alone. It's about you and us, and it's about an entire civilization of people. You are being trained here to serve, to lead, and to solve problems. And I also think that your Chancellor has made that very clear in that very well-delivered speech, which I urge you to get a copy of and read from time to time. Again, as I was preparing this speech, an item in the news caught my attention. A bank in Nigeria had lost over 1.3 billion naira to about 718 customers who allegedly unlawfully withdrew the money from the bank because of a software glitch and transferred it to 45 other banks. Apparently, it was clear that none of the withdrawals of that entire sum of money was done in cash. All of it was done electronically. But the bank could not electronically reverse the withdrawals and restore all the accounts to normalcy. So what does the bank do? The bank has gone to the law courts, suing those customers and the 45 banks in a process that we can only imagine how long it would take to recover, if it was possible to make that recovery. And I just wondered whether there was a lawful way to electronically reverse all of those debits and credit the accounts back. Again, I am pleased to note that Miva is offering a program that trains people in cybersecurity on one hand and criminology and security studies on the other hand, in addition to several other programs. And how fitting and proper would it be that someone in this matriculating class will be the one who develops the software that reverses this kind of malevolent withdrawals and financial fraud without needing to go to court? Again, are the dots connecting? There are problems to solve. Of course, it is impossible to conclude this conversation without responding to those who still ask the question whether a university education and a degree are still necessary in securing employment in a rapidly changing economic and employment terrain. I think the answer to that is to look at the available evidence. And that evidence suggests that degree holders are still significantly better paid than non-degree holders. So you are doing the right thing by starting this relationship with Miva and seeking to get a degree. According to a report, degree holders go through a process that improves their capacity for critical thinking and problem solving, unlike non-degree holders. So again, each one of you is therefore rightly preparing to become a critical thinker and a problem solver. Yes, there are mixed views on the matter because information technology-based jobs that thrive on vocational and technical skills rather than a university degree have driven up a demand for that kind of skill that have challenged the focus on conventional university degrees. But truth is that there is also a desire that has been measured, palpable global desire for continuous learning in a rapidly changing world that drives up demand again for university education. Again, you cannot go wrong matriculating class of 2025 if all you seek is continuous knowledge. You cannot go wrong. So this is where Miva Open University and the online model clearly becomes the game changer of the day, with the flexibility and the quality that it offers with competitive pricing. Dear matriculants, I believe that we have reached the point now where I feel that you have found the answers to the questions I asked. Why did you choose an open university? Why did you choose Miva? And whether you are ready for a lifelong relationship with Miva. I am willing to bet that you have found the answers. Have you? And I think it is easy for me to then make a guess that you have decided to be part of Miva's movement that will become the army of soldiers who will defend community and country. Am I right? I believe you now know that this is more than being about you and more about your country and your community. I believe that you also understand the necessity for continuous learning commends Miva as a most viable option. Please keep these answers at the fore of your minds throughout the period of your training. They will help you keep focus because you will face a lot of distractions, especially on social media and some of the things that have been said before me. So now that we have a mutual understanding about what Miva represents and why you have all chosen to be part of such a movement, I can only urge you now to make the very best of the opportunity that you presently have. I also implore you to be the very best version of yourselves by being dedicated and diligent in the pursuit of your studies. Let me be clear. Knowledge alone, on its own, will not be enough to support and sustain you in your journey of life. No matter how distinguished and distinction-based and merit-based your certificates are, the knowledge there alone will not be enough. Your character, which is the sum total of many values, such as honesty, trust, and respect for constituted authorities, for rules and regulations, and your fidelity to your colleagues and associates will be a most important factor. After all, when your degrees are ultimately issued, as the Vice Chancellor himself has said here before me, they will assert that you were all found worthy not only in knowledge, but in character, which is what really makes you a university graduate, unless you let yourselves down. So I say to you, do not let yourselves down, so that you can become worthy champions of the Miva brand that will pass it on to the next generation as worthy alumni of this institution. I hope that the knowledge that you get at Miva will help build your individual self-beliefs that will lead to resilience. I wish you the very, very best of luck and outstanding success in your chosen courses of study. Thank you for your attention.